Ladies and gentlemen, in a very few moments, you will experience Michael Ong, a world champion speaker. This multi-talented and dynamic individual brings us a wealth of ideas and experience from a broad range of endeavors, from the world of politics to the entrepreneurial arena. Michael Ong's business ventures include a real estate development firm, a construction business, a nationally acclaimed family restaurant, and a thriving insurance practice. A life and qualifying member of the prestigious $1 Million Roundtable, Michael Ong recently received the highest honor in the life insurance industry, the Master Agency Award. Michael Ong is a highly acclaimed author with 3 books and a syndicated column to his credit. His audio and video learning systems are used by Fortune 500 companies around the world. Michael Ong won the World Championship of Public Speaking for Toastmasters International in 1978. In 1983, he was similarly honored by the National Speakers Association with their highly regarded CSP, Certified Speaking Professional designation, and has been elected to their board of directors. With a client list that reads like who's who, Michael Ong has spoken in 18 countries and shared the platform with Presidents Carter, Reagan, and Bush. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome someone who is one of a kind, someone who is unique, a man who walks his talk. From Kissimmee, Florida, entrepreneur, author, and world champion professional speaker, Michael Ong.
Come on up here. Come on, these are my volunteers. Come on. These are my volunteers. You are about to experience the Kazoo Review. Big hand for the volunteers. Come on.
Step over your course.
Okay. Come on up. Come on up. Keep big applaud. Come on, come on. Little help here. Little help. Okay. Come on. Okay. Now, these folks have volunteered to entertain you this morning. They are going to be playing I've Been Working on the Railroad. Everybody hum it together for me. Okay, kazoo players, let's hear it. All together. Maestro, hit it. Not real good though, huh? We need a little audio to go with this, wouldn't you agree? All right, cut. All right, here we go. We're going to take it from the top, only this time I'm going to sing a little welcome. All together, Maestro, hit it. I would like to give a welcome here to all of you in lovely Palm Desert where the skies are always blue. Here you are all assembled to meet and to network, hoping that the keynote speaker won't sound like a jerk. Applause. The Kazoo Review, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a big hand. Thank you. Quick show of applause, please. How many of y'all know what grits are? I ordered grits this morning. The lady looked at me like I didn't have all the dots on my dice. I said, madam, if you don't have any grits, you go fetch me a bowl of hot water, because I always carry a little spare packet of grits in my pocket just in case. So you go fetch me. I'd explained fetch to her too. She didn't understand that either. I said, you go fetch me a bowl of hot water and I'll mix up my own. Well, she brought out that bowl of hot water. She set it down in front of me. I tore up my grits. I was pouring them in. I was stirring them up. She asked me a very interesting question. She said, are grits tough to grow? Now, gang, I'm quick, but this one threw me. But I recovered very nicely. I said, no, ma'am, but they're hell to pick. All right, quick show of applause, please. How many of you are members of the Silver Spoon Club? Born with all the information you're ever going to need, all the good looks, all the money. Y'all get up and go to work for the fun of it every day. One liar. I ask you, does it look like Mikey? Here I am at birth. No neck. Still ain't got no neck. My wife stays on my case about my weight. She says you go in and get your shoes shined. You kind of got to take the guy's word for it, don't you? It's the reason I don't play golf. When I put the ball where I can hit it, I can't see it. When I put it where I can see it, I can't hit it. The Goodmont Senior kept the silver spoon here. Here I am with my 10 brothers and sisters. Didn't sleep alone till I got married. Oh, some of you too, huh? Here I am on my first sales call. Check out those white wall tires. What I'm trying to say to you is it's time for me to suit up. I'm starting. I was not a member of any Silver Spoon group either. I want to share some ideas with you today, some ideas that are going to make you, hopefully, a better spouse, a better supporter, a better parent, a better person. And I want to share these ideas from this man. He was an interesting man. He was my grandfather. Now, some of y'all are sitting out there saying to yourself, what is this guy? Is he Jewish? Is he Italian? What is he? Actually, I'm of Lebanese descent. We never win any wars. We always stop and pick up the lumber when they blow up the bridges, you know, so we can resell it, of course. But they thought I was Jewish. In fact, they thought my grandfather was Jewish, so they called him Jew Mac. Now, in the deep South where I come from, you were one of three things. You were a white man, you were a black man, or you were a Jew. We were too dark to fit in the light category and too light to fit in the dark category, so they called us Jews. Don't you Greeks and Italians laugh? Y'all were right in there with us. And until the day my granddaddy died, they were affectionately referring to him as Jew Mac. Now, Mac was not his last name. Scaff, S-K-A-F-F was his last name. But when he came through immigration, they said, look, Mac, you need to change that name. He said, fine, I'll take the name Mac. That's how he got his last name. Mayor of the town of Lexington, South Carolina, where I lived for 40 years. Mayor of the town of Lexington for 12 years before they found out he was an illegal alien. Had to go down, sign up, become an American citizen. I used to call him my jiddi. That's an Arabic word for grandfather. He called me his hayeti. That's an Arabic word which roughly translated means the breath of my life. Isn't that a beautiful expression? You are my heart. You are my life. You are the breath of my life. He used to say to me, hayeti, God blesses the man who gives advice. But God blesses 1,000 times more the man who takes the advice and uses it. So today I'd like to share some advice with you from this man about this thing of change. And I'd like to quote that great Italian philosopher, Yogi Berra, when he said, the trouble with the future is it ain't what it used to be. And it isn't, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about keys to dealing with the changes that are going on in our lives and the multitude of things that are happening to you and me. And let's jump right into it by quoting Berra once again, when he said, never make predictions about the future. It's hard to predict what's going to happen, but I can suggest to you and to your husbands and wives, the spouses that are represented here today, that if you try to do business today like you did business yesterday, you won't be around to do business tomorrow. And it's important that as part of the support system that you understand the changes that your spouses are going through. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. In other words, if you plant peas, you get peas. You don't get apples, you don't get oranges, you get peas. So it's important that we deal with this thing of change. Now, because change is constant, you and I, therefore, must constantly change. We're in the constant process. So I want to challenge you to be different. Your willingness to be different is the key to your success. That means rolling with the punches. A lot of things are going on in business today that affect our spouses, and they bring that home with it. You are the most important thing in their lives. You are the support system. You are the people that they turn to. So it's critical that you understand what's going on with them. That starts with a base of knowledge. And I ask the question, are you the vulture or are you the missionary? Are you driving through life with your emergency brake on? What kind of limits have you placed on yourselves? What kind of limits do you place on your life by being intolerable and inflexible? It's important that we understand that. Now, have you taken the time to understand what it's about by reading about what your husbands and wives go through? Have you taken the time to read the 10 latest books concerning the business of which we are a part? Are you keeping up? If you'd only read one book a week or one book a month, you'd be in the upper 10% of the intellectual elite in the world. You ought to be reading 2 books a week, a newspaper a day, and 2 other publications a week if you just want to keep up. How are you going to stay tuned in with what's going on in your spouse's life if you yourself are not tuned in to what's going on in the world? That's the key. So just shoot for the goal of reading at least a book a month. The other thing I'd say to you is that you can't have rabbit stew till you catch the rabbit. You can't convey information. You can't be part of the support system. You can't be doing the things that are going to help make your spouse successful if you don't know what those things are. Let me ask you this. How would you like to be operated on by a surgeon who hadn't been to school in 10 years? So you flip him over. Let's see if the zipper's on the back. Oh, Marge, did you sharpen the scaffolds this morning? See, I want a doctor who's working with a sharp scaffold and a sharp mind, and the last thing when I'm going through open heart surgery, last thing I want to hear is oops. We don't want to hear oops in our life, do we? You know, oops cost us a lot of money. We're in a sue-crazy society. 650,000 lawyers in America today, 13,000 in Japan. I found out what the difference is. You sue somebody in Japan, you have to post bail, and the amount in which you sue them is double or nothing. Y'all know the difference between a dead lorry in the middle of the road and a dead skunk? Skid marks in front of the skunk. This lawyer died and went to heaven. That's not the punchline. St. Peter greeted him at the pearly gates and said, "Sir, we're pleased, privileged, proud, and honored to have you in here. We've never had a 127-year-old lawyer in here before." Lawyer said, "I was only 30 years old when that truck hit me." Well, St. Peter said, "Well, gee, there must be some mistake. Now, according to the hours which you've billed," you're a lawyer too, huh? I saw this in Life magazine a number of years ago. It was a sign that said, "End of improvement, thank you for your patience." You know, the fact of the matter is, your improvement can never end. That's why it's important that you're at a program like this morning to learn more about how you can be supportive in the process of working with your spouses and becoming a better parent. So I want to suggest to you, as Jiddy suggested me, he said once, "Hayati, if you fail in school, it's not your teacher who fails you. He or she just delivers the bad news." You know something? If our spouses go bankrupt tomorrow, aren't they just delivering our latest performance rating? Isn't that what the bad news is all about? So we got to learn to deal with this process. Now, some of us are born in the AD with a BC mentality. We're trying to solve today's problems with yesterday's solutions. That won't work. Now, until the mind is moved, the carcass is going to stay in park. So we have to start with this base of building better knowledge about where we're going. And it isn't what we know, but what we do with what we know that counts. Those become the keys. Education, therefore, becomes our only product. So I challenge you to become better at leadership skills, because that's important too. You are the key focus in your household. At work, maybe your husbands are in charge, but at home, my wife, there's one vote, she's got it, I know it. I don't argue. You know what? Most of us are that way. Most of our spouses in their work environment are entirely different than they are in their home environment. That's understandable. It's understandable, but what you have to understand is that in home, you have to be the leaders. It's so critical to that process. Whether you're male or female, you become part of the leader. And I ask, are eagles or buzzards, which are you? You know, if you hold the eagle and the buzzard up from a distance, they look alike. The eagle's got a straight neck. Buzzard's got a little bit of a crook in its neck, but they are very similar. Their wingspan is just about the same. The eagle kills his own lunch. The buzzard picks at the remains. Which are you? Are you the leader? Are you the follower? Are you the eagle or are you the buzzard? I've learned two things about the issue of leadership. I've learned, first of all, that the price of leadership is loneliness. Many times you make decisions that your children don't agree with. Is that a fair statement? I mean, if school was an option in my house, I guarantee you it would be an option. I mean, they don't always go along with us. But the price of leadership, the price of parenting is loneliness. Sometimes you're not going to be the most popular person in the household. The other thing I've learned is that you can't be concerned with what other people think about you. Not if you're going to be out there on the firing line, not if you're going to be out there making a difference. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, great leaders have this ability. They have the ability to love others more than they love themselves. And sometimes that's making tough decisions that makes that process come about. You ever notice that the speed of the leader is, in fact, the speed of the pack? Lead dog's always got the best view, doesn't he? The only one who gets to change the scenery out of the whole group, too. But leaders have this ability. They have that ability to love others more than they love themselves. Now, let me quickly give you 5 ways to become a better leader. I know I'm moving very quickly. We've got a nice handout for you out here that you can take home that reviews the ideas. See, I know if I just come and speak to you this morning, I'm lucky if you retain 10% of what I have to say. If you see it and hear it, your retention level jumps to 60%. You see it, hear it, take home the handout, read it at least once. We have retention up to 85%. Now, we're tape recording this program. If you listen to that tape or watch that tape 17 of the next 21 days, I'll have you giving a speech in 30 days. My point is, why have a meeting? Why bring the people together and invest such a modest fee? Don't y'all tell them how much you pay me. I'm just as ashamed of it as you are. But that's not the big investment. The investment is the time that you took out of your lives to be here today. I take that process very seriously. Now, let me give you 5 ways to get better at this issue of parenting. Is that a fair question for me to ask? Would you like to know more? Let's take a look. Number 1, let's adopt the philosophy of being a good example. Don't expect your children, don't expect your spouses to be anything that you wouldn't be yourself. Be a good example, adopt the philosophy, be what you see in me. Number 2, let's show other people what to do and how to do it. May I suggest to you that people don't know what they don't know? They have no idea about that which they don't know. See, a good leader, ladies and gentlemen, we've confused leadership with management, and there is a difference between the 2 issues. A good bull is half the herd. A poor bull is the whole herd. Take some of you Iowa folks a moment to get that one. Number 3 on our list, we got to meet the needs of our people. Now, our people, your children, your husbands, your spouses, your wives, everybody, they all say with these actions, they have these big billboards that they wear. And the billboards cry out constantly. They say with their actions, love me. What are they saying? They're saying, hey, give me some affection. They say with their actions, notice me. Why do you think you kids act up? They act up because they want you to notice them. They say with their action, notice me. What do they want? Pay attention to them. They say with their actions, recognize me. Hey, you know what they really want? They want you to show appreciation. My wife does this. She's tremendous at this. She's always writing thank you notes to me. In fact, when I'm on the road, I don't have any problems when I'm on the road. I fly a lot, of course, and I usually fly Delta Airlines, which to me is the greatest airline in the skies. Of course, now that I think about it, it's the only airline in the skies, the way it's been going. But when I get on Delta this afternoon to fly back to Orlando, Florida, I won't have any problems. First thing I do when I get on Delta is I'll ask the steward or stewardess for the name and the address of their supervisor, so that I might write him or her a thank you note for the wonderful service I'm about to receive. Now I ask you, do I get lousy service on Delta? No, why? Because I'm greasing the wheel, aren't I? My wife's always writing me these notes. Here's one she wrote me not long ago. Dear sweetheart, go out there and lay them on the landing deck. Isn't that something, lay it? Do you ever tell your husbands to lay them on the landing deck? I mean, this is the kind of woman I'm married to, very traditional. Go out there and lay them on the landing deck. Make us proud. This little note had a P.S. at the bottom. P.S. Save your body for later. See, the notes serve all kind of purposes. They keep you honest when you're out here on the road. Now, a thank you note is a piece of paper. It's worth 1,000 pats on the back. It contains 4 simple ingredients. Number 1, make it quick. Number 2, keep it short. Number 3, be specific. Let the person know why you're thanking them. Number 4, write it personally. 4 simple ingredients, and it works every time. You know why it works? So few of us use it. 4 simple ingredients. Make it quick, keep it short, be specific, write it personally. D on our list. The billboard that they wear screams out, include me. Make me part of your circle. What are they saying? They want acceptance. So we have to find a way to empower the others by bringing them into the circle. E on our list, believe me. And what they're really saying here is they want to accomplish, so believe in me. Give me the opportunity. That means to get out of the way and let them fail along the way. Number 4 on our list of 5 major areas is to expect a lot of these people, and you'll get a lot. Expect a little, you'll get even less. And then you must inspect what you expect. That's what good management, good parenting, good spousing is all about. I always say to people that management is not a penalty, it is a privilege. When I quit caring about you, hasn't our relationship truly ended? Let's play a little word association game from it. I'm going to holler out a word to you, and you holler out the opposite word, okay? Day, black, love, indifference, apathy. See, isn't indifference truly the opposite of love? As long as you and I are throwing pots and pans at one another, isn't there an element of love left in our relationship? It's when I completely quit caring about you, I'm totally indifferent to you, that's when it all ends. Apathy, indifference. Number 5 on our list of things. Believe in them, they'll be more likely to believe in you. That means letting them fail. We don't like to let people, the most important people in our lives, we surely don't like to see them fail. How else are they going to learn? They asked me to come here and motivate you guys today. I got to get comfortable first before I do that. Hey, y'all like this tie? My wife bought this tie for me. You know something? I've learned 3 things about the issue of motivating people. I've learned, first of all, you can't motivate anybody to do anything they don't want to do. Do what? Motivational speaker saying you can't I'm telling you, you can't motivate anybody to do anything they don't want to do. Second thing, see, motivation is an internal thing. It's something that happens from within. I can't come here, bless you, and suddenly you walk out of here motivated. Motivation doesn't work that way. The second thing, though, I've learned about motivation, all people are motivated. The people who aren't here this morning were more motivated to be somewhere else than they were to be here. They're probably hungover. Boy, y'all party hardy. But they are nonetheless motivated. Now, the third thing I've learned about motivation, people do things for their reasons, not for yours. The trick, figure out what their reasons are. I figured out what motivates my children. Money. My wife asked me the other day, she said, why do you always carry so much cash on you all the time? Because happy muggers don't shoot. How'd you like to be a mugger? You knock some guy over the head, you get a lousy $5 off of him. Makes you want to beat the hell out of him, doesn't it? I want him to get up, and I want him feeling pretty good. Gee, I hope you come through here again real soon. Won't you get well soon, you know? Let me introduce the gang to you. Here they are, Cub Scouts. They're now in Boy Scouts. Yeah, I was their scoutmaster for 7 years. Ladies and gentlemen, we Catholics have the doctrine right. There is a place between heaven and hell where one goes to suffer for one's sins, called purgatory. Cub Scouts. All right, how many den mothers have I got here present? All right, get up here. I need 4 or 5 of you up here real quick. Come on. Come on, get up here. I got a prize for you. You were up here once. Come on, I need, where are they? Let me see the den mothers. See, the hands always disappear when come on, you, come on up here. Come on. We're going to sing a song together. Give her a hand, come on. Yeah. Den mother. Come on up. This is terrific. 4 volunteers. Let's line up right over here. Dip, 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 dip. Okay. Now, how many of you, or do you know the song, God Bless My Underwear? No. Well then, hum along. Okay. All together. Who knows the song, God Bless My Underwear? I know I got to have somebody out here. Here we go. Maestro, hit it. God bless my underwear, my only pair. Stand beside them and guide them through the night with a light from above. From the washer to the dryer to the clothesline up above. Hum, 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 hum. God bless our underwear, our only pair. Give him a big hand. Hey, y'all know what I learned about underwear? You can turn them inside out, they're good for 3 more days. We're doing these overnight camp out training things now. Well, they're the gang. Figured out what motivates my children, money. Got my kids on commission. I do. Takes my kids $128 a month to break even after they pay their insurance. See, we don't believe in allowances in our house. The allowances work like this. If there's enough food left over, you get to eat. Hey, if there's an empty bed, you get to sleep. That's our allowance system. We don't believe in giving them anything. Let them earn it. They got these charts. You make your bed, you get $1. You clean up your room, you get $1. You go to bed happy, you get $1. You get up happy, you get $1. But it takes them $128 a month to break even. Yeah. After they pay their insurance, hey, I sold them the policy. After they set aside some money for their college education, after they give a little bit of money back to God. That's how we do it in our house. Look at the little guy chart. Now, he's now 10 years of age, but up until the time he was about 3 years of age, he was addicted to the pacifier. Look at number 2 on the list, no battery. His brothers called it a battery. Said, Dad, you take that sucker out, he just dies, you know. So you give up the battery for a day, you get $1. You go to bed happy. Look at the one on the bottom of the list, beat Dad up. See, in our house, we have what are called big smack attacks. Number 1 on the list. That's where I lay all over them and kiss and slobber all over them. How'd you like 240 pounds slobbering all over you? That's got to be worth $1. Well, I got them on these instant pay system. Now, they came to me not long ago. Dad is a 2-syllable word in our house. Dad, 1 word, 2 syllables. You owe us. You ever notice how they get kind of cocky sometimes? You owe us. They get that little swagger in their step, you know. You owe us $320 this month, plus interest. I said, what's the interest? Well, had our money been on deposit down at the bank. So I said, okay, we're going to do away with the charts. We went to the instant pay system. Went down to the bank, got a bunch of money from my banker. Went down to my printer. No, I didn't print one. You're getting ahead of me there. Had them paint some glue on the edge of that money. Now when them boys make their bed, no problem. We just tear off one and give them $1. Clean up the room, no problem. We just tear off one. I even had some of it rolled up. I told my wife, just peel off what you need. No problem. So we're on the instant pay system. They came to me not long ago. Dad, 1 word. Dad. I could see they had a problem. Recognize the problem because I've had the problem myself. It's called cash flow. Diet. Bottom lip kind of quivering. We don't have enough money. You ever notice how they hyperventilate? We don't have enough money. In the checking account. They've had checking accounts since they were 6 years of age. I don't manage their money for them. They got their own. They even got Quicken. We don't have enough money in the checking account to pay the bills this month. What are we going to do? Well, now, I try to run my life as much like the real world as possible. So I introduced the concept of a loan. Dad, 1 word. What's a loan? So a loan works like this. For every $1 you're short this month, I'm going to loan you $1 to make up the difference. I can see the twins elbowing one. We'll hit this sucker again next month. This loan thing is a good thing. I said, but I have to charge you interest. Dad, 1 word. What's interest? I said, well, interest works like this. For every $1 you're short, you're going to pay me $2 back. 1%. Now, here are my poor little innocent children who in the one breath don't know what a loan is. And the next moment, they're experts on Florida's usury law. Dad, you can't charge rates of interest like that. Watch me. In addition, I require collateral. Dad, 1 word. What's a lateral? I said a lateral is something they do in football. Collateral is your bicycle. Last month, had to repossess a bicycle. That sucker sitting up on the front porch, big old for sale sign in front. For sale, cheap. Now, Corey, the victim in this story, came to me and says, Dad, 1 word. Are you willing to sell that $150 bicycle for only $25? I said, Corey, $25 is all you owe me, sweetheart. Now, interestingly, all the kids in the neighborhood, they got together. They pooled their money so that Corey wouldn't lose the bike. Isn't that nice? They bought the bike out of hock. I found out after the fact they sold it back to him on time for $100. You think I charge high rates of interest. Folks, those three things taught me more about motivation. Number one, you can't motivate anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. Number two, all people are motivated. Number three, people do things for their reasons, not for yours. Now, for us to try on some good parenting skills, some good spousing skills, we got to start asking questions. Always remember this, the person that asks the questions in the interview process is the person that controls the interview. You ever having problems communicating with your spouse? Start asking questions. And go with the who, what, when, where, why questions. Why? Because they lead to rhetorical responses. When you ask did, would, could, should, that leads to a or an And most of us men particularly aren't very good at giving you responses. So you got to constantly bait us. You got to constantly prime the pump. We don't know what to say half the time. We're not real great at communicating. And here's somebody making that confession to you. Your kids do it to you all the time. Do they ever understand the word no? It doesn't even exist in their vocabulary, does it? They love that question, why? Why is the sky blue? I don't know, go ask your mom. She knows everything, Now, we were having trouble with them not long ago, and I was going over their homework, and I was going down, and I said, what the hell's happening in algebra this semester? You guys AWOL? Now, would you agree that this child's in trouble? Right? So when in trouble, we do what? We ask questions, don't we? Now, is he in trouble? What's going on in algebra? He's in trouble. When I move my tie, y'all nod your heads. He's in trouble. What's going on in algebra? What do you think it is, Dad? Heredity or the environment? See, when in trouble, ask a question. Take control of the interview process with the important people in your life by questioning them. That draws them out. See, the greatest motivational principle in the world is the truth. It's right there in the manufacturer's handbook. Know ye the truth. The truth shall make you free. See, the truth is always with you. Most of us aren't smart enough to be good liars. Ladies and gentlemen, life is a series of choices. There are three kinds of parents sitting in this audience today. Let's share what some of these choices are by going to my chart here and telling you a little bit about them. The first type of person that we have out here in the audience today is a helicopter. Now, we helicopter parents are unique kind of people. We like to hover and protect. Whoop, 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 whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. We hover, we protect. We wouldn't want the little darlings to go off and fail. What would the neighbors think? Whoop, 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 whoop. My kids didn't do their homework for 6 consecutive years. Why? Because they had a helicopter mother to do it for them. Now, my wife is a nurse by profession. The very profession requires that we be a giving, loving kind of a person. So it's okay. That's her nature. But listen to me on this issue if you hear me on nothing else. Our strengths, overused, can in fact become our weaknesses. They didn't do their homework because they knew mom would take care of it for them. Now, you keep rewarding that kind of behavior, you're going to keep having kids not doing their homework. Whoop, 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 whoop. They love to hover, they love to protect. Now, these are interesting kinds of people for a number of different reasons, because they're a lot like the big oak tree syndrome, I like to refer to it as. You ever know something about a great big old oak tree? Nothing grows under it, does it? Beautiful sight, but nothing flourishes in the shade of an oak tree. Another problem that the helicopter has, these people have a tendency to want to rescue others. They are rescuers because they don't want the others to fail. We don't want them to experience that failure thing. Now, that may be a noble cause initially, but when you think it through, how are they going to learn to deal with the real problems in life if they don't experience failure in the process? So don't be the rescuer. Don't be part of the rescue squad. They're always bailing people out. Second type of person is a drill sergeant. Drill sergeants say what? It's my way or the highway. It's my way or else. There's one vote here. I've got it. You'll do it. You know something? The irony of this is that we need to have some drill sergeant skills in our life. If, for instance, if I just said to my children, hey, you don't have to go to school, they wouldn't. I mean, they're honor students. They hate school. I had a kid that got kicked out of school. You ready for this? Got kicked out of school because he was reading a Tom Clancy novel. It was hidden down inside his history book. Now, he had read his history lesson. It was done, and it was kind of boring anyway. So he's into Tom Clancy. So he's reading it. Teacher kicks him out. Now, how do you get angry at this kid? Because he's reading. Now, drill sergeants tell people. They issue orders. They come down hard on people. And you know something? God put me on this earth to be their father and to do the best job of that as I can. And sometime I got to throw a little drill sergeant in there. Yeah, you will go to school. You will do this. You will clean up around the home. You will take care of your chores. You will do certain things. That's part of the formula of participating in this household. Now, the helicopter would let them off the hook. The drill sergeant comes down hard. These two extremes, you pay a major price. So drill sergeants love to issue the orders. Now, the third type of person is a counselor. Now, counselors are interesting people because they give people choices. They issue options to people. Let me illustrate my point by telling you a little story about my littlest guy, Christopher. Christopher, like Corey, like Jason, and like me, hates to go shopping. We don't like it, but once a year, whether we need it or not, my wife makes me go shopping with her. So here we are at McDonald's this particular day. We stopped at McDonald's, and Christopher has missed his nap this day, which redefines that old expression, they eat their young. This kid's fit. You want to kill him. He's ready. You are ready to just pound him, you know. He's fit to be tied. Now, Christopher has zeroed in on a spot on the wall, and he's determined not to blink. Because he knows this brings his helicopter mother to her knees. See, Christopher don't want to be there to begin with. Let me illustrate my point. Come on up here, Jim. And you, I need you. You're going to play the part of my wife. Jim, you're going to be just some guy happening along. Yeah, okay, here we go. Now, here's why Christopher doesn't want to go shopping. He gets to go around with his little arm up in the air all day. Everybody get one of your hands up in the air. Come on, get them up there. Lift one arm. Lift it up. Get it up good and high. See, because I want all the blood to run out of that sucker. Get your arms back up in the air. I want pins and needles going through that. I want you to experience what little Christopher gets to experience when he goes shopping. He's pulling down, she's pulling up, he's pulling down, she's pulling up. This goes on all day. After a while, she reaches down and slaps hell out. Don't you hit me. Now, she bumps into the guy like Jim. Now, the Jims of the world are all alike. They got these big rings on their finger, you know? And they come up to the little Christophers of the world. They go whop, 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 whop on top of their head. Or they love to his cheek. Go ahead, my cheeks. What makes you think that feels good? But the worst part about the Jims of the world, turn around, Jim, they break wind on you. The quality of the air down here is noticeably, depreciably lower than the quality of the air up there. Now give them a big hand for helping me out up here. Now y'all getting the picture. Y'all getting the picture on why Christopher don't want to go shopping. So here we are back at McDonald's. He is zeroed in on the spot on the wall. He's determined not to blink. And I'm listening as my helicopter wife begs this child to eat. I need you, and you back up here. Jim, you are a helicopter. Put the hat on. Come on, Jim. Say whoop, 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 whoop. Okay. Now, you're going to be the rescuer. You're helicopter number 2. You're the drill sergeant. I need 2 more. Come on, 2 more. Come on. All right, meet the staff. Give them a big hand. Come on. You be the coach. Drill sergeants. All right. Now, I'm listening as my wife begs this child to eat.
You gotta eat. It's gonna be good for you. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Eat everything on your plate and I'll give you something. Eat.
Eat. See, we want to beg these child. Come on, honey, eat everything on your plate. Come on, sweetheart, eat so you can grow up and be big and strong like your brothers. He can whip his brothers right now. Now, I watched this woman continue to beg, and then slowly but surely, she went to the other side of the pendulum, which is drill sergeants. She said, you better eat, or else. Or else what? What are the choices here? Christopher was born at night, but not last night. He wants to know, what are the options? You better eat, or we're going to leave you here. Yeah, sure. Get you for child abuse, too. You better eat, or we're going to take you down to the police station and leave you there. Now, there's a thought. Drop us off at the fire department, pick us up hour and a half, 2 hours. We love firemen, love policemen. You better eat, or I'm going to tell your father. Now, I'm sitting across the booth, wolfing down hamburgers. And he looks over at me. Is he deaf and dumb? Now, what does any perplexed wife, and you all are good at this, so what do they do when they reach their wits' end? What do you gals always do? Let's hear it. Okay, honey, it's your turn. He's your son, as if this child sprang from my loins all by himself. Now, listen to this. She tried drill sergeant. Drill sergeant didn't work. You better eat her else. She tried helicopter. Did helicopter work? What's the only other option? Counselors. Counselors are coaches. They give people choices. They coach them along. They give them options. Now, what would the counselor say in this scenario? Christopher, you can eat or you can pass it up. Christopher, in 5 minutes, when the big hand gets to Mickey, he understands that we, as a collective body, we are going to get up. We are going to walk out of McDonald's. We can walk out of McDonald's with a hamburger in your belly, or we can walk out of McDonald's with a hamburger in my belly. Because my mother, God rest her soul, she's dead and gone now, but she still quietly resides right up here on my shoulder, whispering into my ear. All together now. Eat everything on your plate. There are children starving in China. Ladies and gentlemen, for 42 years, I have been eating anything anybody ever placed in front of me. Make that 44 years. I got a bumper sticker here that sums it up best. I beat anorexia. Now, as a drill sergeant, which is my style, of course, as a drill sergeant, I got to have a countdown. Drill sergeants always have countdowns, don't they, huh? Christopher, 5 minutes and counting. 5 minutes and counting. Sort of like the priest on Sunday, you know? How many mackerel snappers have I got out here? Let's see a show of hands. Yeah. 4 minutes and counting. A little holy water. 3 minutes and counting. Something interesting happened when we got to the 2-minute mark. My mouth started to water. I wanted the hamburger. Now, do you think Christopher disappointed me? No, 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 no. 5, 4, 3, 2. I reached down, scooped up the hamburger. 2 bites. That sucker's. My wife, the helicopter, has gone off the deep end. What are you doing? You ate the child's hamburger. Everybody in McDonald's getting up. You know. She's gone off to the bathroom, and there I am looking like I just, committed some kind of a crime or something. I tried to pick this child up discreetly, much as one would a watermelon. I tried to walk discreetly out of McDonald's. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if the kid's worth keeping, and he is, I ask you, is he taking this laying down? No. No, 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 no. You don't get opportunities like this. An audience, probable cause. This child has redefined the whole term child abuse. All the way out. I got out to the car, I made my next mistake. I pinned him in behind me. Jim, don't ever pin them in behind you. Always pin them in behind your wife, because all the way home, this kid is kicking the back of the seat. Kicking the back of the seat. In exactly 16 minutes and 32 seconds, I timed them. This child said the most intelligent thing any child's ever said in his entire life. 2 words. Anybody want to guess what they were? I'm hungry. You got it. Now, I'm hungry is a decision. Wouldn't you agree? Now, in the old days, here's how I dealt with, I'm hungry. Let me put a drill sergeant hat on for a second. You get down into his little face, and you go down into your gut, and you give him one of these. You're hungry! Hey, do you hear that? He's hungry! Rub his little nose in it some. Don't do it. Hey, we want to gloat, don't we? We want to make him feel bad. He made a bad decision. Don't do it. That's the great drill sergeant tendency. Don't want to rub his nose in it. Don't do it. Now, how would the helicopter deal with I'm hungry? Whoop, 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 whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. Whoop, whoop. Don't worry, honey. Whoop, 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 whoop. When we get home, whoop, 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 we'll have some Tony the Tiger. Don't you do that. Don't you let him off the hook. He made a decision. He chose. How would the counselor deal with it? Counselor, first of all, gave him an option. Now, what were his choices? Come on, we're not putting a man on the moon here, folks. What are his choices? Eat, not eat. Christopher, in 5 minutes, count them when the big hand gets to Mickey. He chose not to eat. He made a decision. Now, does the counselor rub his nose in it? Don't do it. Counselor says to him, Christopher, I know you're hungry, because Daddy gets hungry too when he misses his dinner, which ain't often. Counselor, first of all, gives him lots and lots of empathy and understanding. You never make people feel bad. You prop them up. You say, gee, I know how you feel, because I felt that way myself when I made that kind of a decision. But you don't let them off the hook either. Second half of the formula, this is the key. Consequence. Tell you what, Christopher, we'll have a really big breakfast in the morning. And then you get the hell out of there, because he ain't taking that one laying down either. Folks, give my staff here a big hand, a big round of applause for helping me out up here. In your handout today, there's a little quiz at the end of it that asks you to ask yourself some questions about your management, your parenting skills. At your leisure, take the time to complete that to see where you stand. I suspect most of you already know where you stand, but take the time to look it over. Here's an idea my Yeti gave me. He said, hey, Yeti, find out what the poor people are doing, then don't do it. That makes sense to me. What he was saying was find out what successful folks are up to, then emulate their good habits. My mom put it another way. She said, if you want to be successful, you got to march hand in hand, side by side, and in the shadows of people who are successful. Here's a bumper sticker. I love to collect. Anybody collect bumper stickers beside me? Money isn't everything, but it does tend to keep the children in touch. Love this one. Children, tired of being harassed by your stupid parents? Act now, move out, get a job while you still know everything. Ask a teenager, they know everything. And this one, money isn't everything, but it does tend to keep the children in touch. Y'all ever notice these bumper stickers on the back of these cars? My child is in the top half of the class at Lakeview Elementary School. Who cares? My child made it possible. How about this one? My kid beat up your honor student. Saw this one down in Florida the other day. My child was inmate of the month at the Florida Correctional Institution. Beautiful blonde got out of a Mercedes-Benz. Was his. And you know, Florida ain't nothing but New York on a half shell. Got all these Yankee bumper stickers down there. We don't care how you do it up north. I gotta ask y'all a question. If the Yankees were so smart, why'd they keep the North? Wouldn't you kept Florida? I'd have put the rednecks in Newark. I'd have put the lintheads in Detroit. And two words that definitely don't go together are Greater Cleveland. Ooh. Saw this one. When I get old, I'm gonna move up north and drive slow. Another Yankee bumper sticker, never eat the yellow snow. Explain it to Jim, would you? Down in Miami, got this one. So many pedestrians, so little time. Got one on lawyers here. Lawyers eat their young. Saw one on lawyers the other day. If your lawyer wins, everybody loses. Think about that for a second. Yeah. Got one from my mother-in-law. How many of you are in love with your mother-in-law? 2 people. I do actually, I like my mother-in-law very much. She came down to visit me not long ago, and of all things, she drove 475 miles from Columbia, South Carolina down to St. Cloud, Florida, where I live. Got right around the corner from our house, and of all things, she hit a cow. I mean, how do you hit a cow? It ain't like a cow goes running out there in front of you or something like, She totaled her car, totaled the cow. So she's on her little cellular phone. She's pinned in, she's not hurt, but she couldn't get out. They had to get the jaws of life to get her out of this car. So she's on the phone. I answer the phone, you know, she's going, screaming and yelling at me over the phone. She sounded normal to me. I said, here, it's your mom. So then my wife gets on the phone. Now she's, I got 2 of them screaming and yelling, hurry, hurry. So I hop in my old pickup truck. I go wheeling around the corner. I come pulling up. The highway patrolman beat me there. I get out of the pickup truck. I got on my 2-piece ensemble, my bib overalls, my straw hat. He looks at me. I said, where is she? He said, we had to shoot her. He thought I owned a cow. I walked over to my mother-in-law and I held up a Wall Street Journal ad that had a picture in there of this Wall Street Journal ad. I said, where's the beef? My favorite mother-in-law bumper sticker is this one. Happiness is seeing your mother-in-law's picture on a milk carton. And a favorite Florida bumper sticker, do you know where you'll be when your laxative starts working? Now, every now and again, my gang gets on my case. Diet, one word. Why can't you be home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon like all the other daddies in the neighborhood? Any of your kids ever do that to you? When they do that, I take them down to the worst part of town. I pull up in front of this house. Roof caved in, shutters falling off, weeds growing up through the porch. I take them in front of that house and I tell them I can be home at 5 o'clock every afternoon. But we gonna live here. Now, every now and then I'll be driving down the road, be minding my own business. Christopher, my littlest guy, he's going to be a bean counter or an accountant or an engineer. I don't know. He's too logical to be in. He'll take a look at that house. He'll say, Dad, don't you have to be somewhere tonight? Folks, it's not that money makes everything so good. It's that no money makes everything so bad. That's the relationship on money. Answer this for me out loud. Anything worth doing is worth doing? Wrong. Those are good answers. But Jiddy put it like this. He said, Hayati, anything worth doing is worth doing badly at first. What he was saying was, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to get kicked in the teeth. Don't be afraid to fall on your face. Don't get good at it. But don't be afraid for it to occasionally occur. You know, I ran for the House of Representatives back in South Carolina back in 1980. I don't belong to any organized political party. I'm a Democrat. I got beat so bad, old boy came up to me. I said, look, if I didn't have more friends than that, I'd carry a gun if I were you. I told him I do. But you know something? By the way, it's what you do with all your old signs. You make shelves out of them suckers and you stick them in your garage. Remind you never to run for anything ever again. I found it's cheaper to buy a politician is to be one anyway. I learned, though, that winning is never final. Losing is never fatal. As that great Italian philosopher, Barra, as he always said, it ain't over till it's over. We can't be afraid to fail. You know, I won the World Championship of Speaking in 1978, Vancouver, British Columbia. Quite an honor for me. I got to compete against Toastmasters, 125,000 Toastmasters, 55 countries throughout the world. Mikey, he won. Hey, in 1977, in Toronto, Ontario, I was disqualified for going 8 seconds over my time limit after I had won it. Now, when you do something dumb like that, the first thing you do is you have a pity party, little show of applause, please. How many people know what a pity party is? You've been there, huh? There I am at the Toronto airport sitting on my pity pot feeling sorry for myself as my plane taxied off without me. Hey, it was then that I realized if I was going to win that thing, it wasn't going to happen that year. I came back a year later, 3,000 miles away in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I won it. But let me tell you something. You got to go through Toronto to get to Vancouver. You have to understand what defeat is about before you'll ever appreciate victory. Yogi also said, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you are? Love these yogiisms. We can't let our excuses become our reasons. Mayor Lindsay's wife was talking to Yogi Berra one day. She said, Yogi, you look so nice and cool today. Yogi said, you don't look so hot yourself. My favorite yogiism of all is this one. 90% of this game's half mental. I'm still trying to figure out what he meant by that. Folks, mistakes are the way we expand our awareness. Mistakes are necessary stepping stones to personal growth. Mistakes, if you will, are part of the formula that get us back onto the success track. And if you aren't making some mistakes, I don't want you on my team. It's okay to fail. Now, there are 4 reasons why we don't reach our goals in life. Number 1, we've been told about them, but we haven't been sold about them. Number 2, we haven't been shown how to set a goal. Number 3, we're afraid we're going to fail. I don't know anybody in this room that enjoys failing. Would you agree with me on that? But take a look at number 4. It leads the list. You take number 1, number 2, number 3, put them in this stack. Number 4, put it in this stack. It outweighs the rest combined. We're afraid we're going to succeed. We think we don't deserve it. I love that Wendy's ad on television. Which would you rather have? This big juicy Wendy's hamburger or this old frozen piece of beef? Because I take the frozen beef. But you can have this big juicy, I'll take the frozen beef. But you can have this big, I'll take the frozen beef. I don't deserve the big juicy Wendy's hamburger. Isn't that a shame we go through our lives accepting second best when best is available? They asked John Kennedy when he ran for president in 1960, Senator Kennedy, would you accept the vice presidency this afternoon if it was given to you? Here it is. It's all yours. I never will forget Kennedy's response. Guy asked me the other day, you vote for Kennedy because he's Catholic? No, I voted for him because I'm Catholic. Never will forget Kennedy's response. He said, why should I accept number 2 when number 1 is available? See, so often in our lives, we will accept second best, and best is right out there. It's available. My favorite bumper sticker of all is this one. If all else fails, lower your standards. Not funny, though, is it? See, this is what's wrong with America today. We have lowered our standards not to keep the winners from winning. The winners are here today. They will always find a way to win. We've lowered our standards to keep the losers from losing. Folks, we've got to learn to listen to the criticism of others, but don't support them. Jiddi used to say to me, Hayati, there's no such thing as constructive criticism. All criticism is destructive because more often than not, the person doing the criticizing is criticizing the performer, not the performance. So be careful, parents, how we hand out that criticism. Let me illustrate my point. My little twins were in the 1st grade. The teachers in their wisdom separated them. They didn't want them in the same class, didn't want them becoming dependent upon one another, which interestingly gave us an opportunity to compare teachers. Now, one teacher, I won't say she was negative, but this old bird had been weaned on a pickle. She'd write home on the homework assignment, "Dear parents, see that your child does this, this, and this week." No love, no concern, no care. The other teacher would write, never to the parent, always to the child, "Dear pumpkins." Now, I'm a pumpkin, okay? And I'm already listening up. She's talking to me. "Dear pumpkins, this week we're going to work on this task and this task and this task. It's tough, but you're smart. I've seen your work, and I know that you can do it. Love, Mrs. Casey." Now, both teachers conveyed fundamentally the same information. One did it with love, one with concern, one with care. The other one, no love, no concern, no care. Which teacher would you rather have? It takes no skill to criticize. The skill is to not to. I'd rather have Miss Casey. Let me illustrate again. I'm standing in a bank not long ago, standing behind a young lady. She had her little son with her. His name was Henry. Now, how did I know his name was Henry? She called that dude down 15. "Henry, get in line. Henry, if you don't straighten up, I'm going to slap you silly, boy. Henry, if you don't straighten up, I'm going to give you that man." I didn't want him. I didn't want him. But I would have taken him for what she told little Henry next. She looked squarely into his eyes, and she said, "Henry, if you don't straighten up, you're going to end up in jail one day." And he probably will. Garbage in, garbage out. Good stuff in, good stuff out. Folks, I've been in 18 countries. I hadn't seen a statue to a critic yet. They don't build them. Let's be careful how we criticize others. Get rid of that word must and should from your vocabulary. You must do this, you should do that. Quit masturbating, stop shoulding yourselves. Those are value judging statements. We don't reserve the right to judge another's values. Get rid of those words I and you. Supplement the word we. We have a problem. Hey, that puts you on their side. Help them through the process. Be less accusatory to others and less damaging in the process. See, when we criticize, it reflects these three things. Number one, uncontrolled malice. Number two, it might be an outlet for guilt on our own part. Number three, it could be an excuse for our not being up to standards. I have a large sales force in Florida, insurance sales force. And I find that the things that make me angriest about some of my men are the things that make me angriest about myself. The things I find wrong with them are the things I dislike most about myself. So when you criticize others, be careful. You're pointing a finger at them, but look how many you're pointing back at me. 3 of them. Be careful how you dispense that criticism. See, when you can't reach the grapes, they're usually green and sour, aren't they? Dig a hole for somebody else. Be careful. You might fall in it yourself one day. And remember this. He who throws nails along the road, remember not to walk barefoot. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask this question. Have you retired but not advised the company yet? Little uneasy laughter out here today. How tight is the lid on your container? What are the limits that you've placed on yourselves? What are your achievement regulators? What are the things that you've said in your own life? Well, I can't do this, or I'm too short, or I'm too fat, or I'm too this, or I'm too that. Look at mine. Let me show you mine. Look at those thumbs. Aren't those the ugliest thumbs? Looks like God sat on those thumbs. But what I want you to know, what God takes away in certain parts of the body, which of course explains this nose. Do you subscribe to the flat earth theory that your way is the only way? Drill sergeants sure do. We need to get away from that behavior. Folks, a stream can rise no higher than its source. What is your source? What is the power that you have within you that you go to? Are you singing the song that you came to sing? Are you living life on purpose, with a purpose? Are you doing God's work? See, talent is God's gift to you, but what you do with talent is your gift to God. And we owe our Maker everything our Maker deserves. See, first we form habits, then habits form us, don't they? Your kids come to me sometime, diet, one word. You won't do our homework for us. You don't love us. Any of your kids ever pull that one on you? You know the reason why I won't do their homework for them? Other than the fact that I can't do it. It's because I do love them. It's because I do care for them. First we form habits, and habits form us. Folks, we can eat a rhino if we'll do it one bite at a time. If you'll break your problems down into little pieces and isolate those pieces. And by the way, let me suggest this to you. You don't have any problems if money is the solution. You got problems if health is the problem. You got problems if you're going through a divorce. You got problems if you're losing a loved one. But if money, making a little bit more money, if that's the solution, you ain't got any problems. And yet that's the biggest problem. If we did a poll today of all of you, that would be the number one thing you'd probably put on your list. That's not a problem, because that's the solution. See, you can't bloom. You can bloom where you planted, but remember this. When you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. We just got to keep on growing. That's the key. We can't affect the direction of the wind. The wind being a Congress who's constantly changing rules and laws, legislatures that are constantly changing the way we do business. The wind being things that are going wrong in our lives, but we can affect the angle of the sail. Any of you do any sailing? It's always the angle of the sail, not the direction of the wind, that makes the difference. So I suggest or ask you, are you a winner? Winners, they see what they want, and losers see what they want to avoid. Winners see high honors. Losers see high hurdles. Winners, if you will, seek success. Losers seek safety. Winners, my friends, have morals. 10 years ago, that wasn't on any list of what employers were looking for from employees. Just wasn't a big deal. Today, it's literally at the top of everybody's list. Losers have methods. Winners seek magnificence. I know I misspelled magnificence. Get over it. Losers seek mediocrity. And what's worst, they accept it. Good is, in fact, the greatest robber of best. When we accept good and best is available, who do we owe? We owe ourselves. We need to do something about that. Winners take risk. Losers take and run. Winners, my friends, they see medals. Losers only see mistakes. They only see the things that are wrong in life. Winners, they see possibilities. Losers, all they see are the problems. Winners, my friends, they seek excellence. They seek to get better constantly. Losers only seek excuses. Winners have dreams. Losers have schemes. Which are you? Are you the winner? I remember I used to play on my granddaddy's Little League baseball team. We were the Max Meatheads. He had Max Cash and Carry grocery store in the town of Lexington, South Carolina. We were the Max Meatheads. Now, what else are you going to call a meat market? We were playing the Harmon's Pill Rollers. It was the World Series of Lexington. The bases were loaded. The score was tied 2-2. Bottom of the last inning, 2 outs. I'm the batter, and I'm praying for a walk. Hit me with the pitch. I don't care what it takes to get that guy home from third. Now, old Grover A. Alexander Hamilton Revels IV was out there. Y'all ever notice all these old boys down south got 4, 5, 6 names? Bunch of Roman numerals after them. Always call them what for short? Anybody? Bubba or Junior? Well, Grover A. Revels is on the mound. Interestingly, you know, they call my granddaddy G-Mac. I told you about that. Here's a clipping. He was elected mayor of the town of Lexington back in 1948. Exactly, and here's a picture of their town council back then. Exactly 3 on the right were living on Church Street, 3 on the left were living on Main Street, and they were arguing this particular night about where they would put the stop sign. You notice I said the stop sign, because that was it. It was a crossroad. Well, the 3 on the right said, oh, Church Street, you know, God comes first. We can't put the stop sign there. 3 on the left said, look, if you put the stop sign on Main Street, maybe some of these people slow down. Maybe they'll do some business with us. So they argued for 3 hours. Now, my granddaddy was a typical politician. He would not cast the deciding vote. Finally, after he got frustrated with them, he passed out some chocolate candy, and they voted on the issue, and they were out of there within 10 minutes. The next day, the Lexington, South Carolina Dispatch News interviewed my granddaddy. They said, Mr. Mack, what was in that chocolate candy that you gave? What'd you give? He said it was X-Lax. Maybe we need to send some X-Lax to Congress. I mention that because they called my granddaddy, his son, Eli Mack Jr., was elected mayor of the town of Lexington 40 years to the day after his father had been elected by the same identical vote. We ain't grown a bit in 40 years. I mention that because you know what we call my uncle? You ready for this? Uncle Bubba Jr. That's his nickname. Anyway, Grover A. Alexander Hamilton Revels is out there on the mound. He threw that first pitch came by me, strike one. Now the bat's still sitting on my shoulder. Second pitch, strike two. I got 2 strikes. I mean, the bat ain't moved. I stepped out of the batter's box, and Jitty was down there on third base. He was coaching. He hollered down to me, "Hayate!" I walked down there with that loser's limp. You know what that is. That's where you go ahead and limp in advance in anticipation of screwing up. Okay? I got down there. He put his arm around me, and he said to me, "Hayate, 100% of the swings you don't take won't go for home runs." Well, I looked at him like he didn't have all the Fridays on his calendar. I'm in there to get hit with the pitch or something. But I already got 2 strikes on me. As I got back down there, you'd have been proud of me. I fouled the next 3 off. Now, I don't know what y'all call it where you come from, but where I come from, we call them Texas League singles. Actually, if the shortstop hadn't run smack dab into the third baseman, they collapsed right there in the infield. My ball squibbed right on through, showed up as a line drive in the newspaper the next week. Of course, it has since bounced off the wall as I currently relate that story to my children. I expect one of these days it'll become a home run. But my point is simply this: 100% of the swings that you don't take won't go for hits. 100% of the risks that you don't take won't produce success. 100% of the investments that you don't make will end up in failure. 100% of the books that you don't read will deny you of that knowledge forever. So it's critically important, folks, that we take advantage of the opportunities or they will bypass us. I've talked all day about this issue of commitment. When I think of commitment, I think of my wife's sister. She's a centerfold. Actually, my wife's first cousin, Gina Thomasina, that is the lady that you're seeing on the screen right now, was Playmate of the Month, November 1981, Playboy magazine. You know, she's married to a kid named Matt Keogh, who was a baseball player that got hit in the head with a pitch 2 or 3 years ago, and he got knocked out of the game, literally. That's who Gina married. We got a lot of issues with those Playboys. Yeah, we do. I read Playboy, by the way, for the same reasons I read National Geographic. I get the same thing out of both of them. Great big full-page pictures of places I ain't ever going to visit. My wife's sister is a triathlete. She's on the Cool Max Ironman triathlon team. Now, how many of you heard of the Ironman? Yeah, that's a tough sport, isn't it? Huh? They hop in the ocean, they swim for 4 miles. They get out, they get on a bicycle, they pedal for 112 miles. And then, as if they ain't tired yet, they run a 26.25-mile marathon. Ladies and gentlemen, the light's on, nobody's home. She does that 12 times a year. I'd call that commitment. When I think of commitment, I think of a story I'd like to close with today about a young crippled black child. A little girl by the name of Wilma Rudolph, born premature, 4.5 pounds, on a ghetto farm in the backwoods of Tennessee. At the age of 4, she was stricken with double pneumonia with scarlet fever. This deadly combination left her with a paralyzed and a useless left leg. Doctors told this child and her mother, this child will never walk. Her mom's only response was a line from a favorite hymn. She said that Wilma can climb her highest mountain if she'll only take a step at a time. The first step was a very painfully massaged step. They had to teach her to walk with a steel brace. That took 5 torturous years. But on her 9th birthday, doctors were amazed to see her take a step without the steel brace. The next 5 years were spent developing that step into a smooth, rhythmic stride. On her 13th birthday, 3 things happened to Wilma. First, she entered a Tennessee high school. Second, she joined the track team. Third, she assumed the nickname Limpy Rudolph. Because you see, she had to limp into last place in every single event. But after each bitter loss, she'd shout above the laughter of her teammates, "I'll never give up. I promise you, I'll never give up." One day she came in next to last in a race. Another day she finished 3rd from last. One day she finished 2nd from 1st, and one day she won herself a race. And now, with a feel of victory in her blood, she began to run with a wild determination, with a reckless abandon, until one day she won every single race that she entered in the entire meet. And that day, she won herself a new nickname, Lightning Rudolph. Lightning came to the attention of Coach Ed Temple at Tennessee State University. He said, "Wilma, come to my school, run for me." Wilma said, if running will get me an education, Coach, not only will I come to your school, but I'll run harder, I'll run faster than I've ever run in my entire life. I promise you I'll never give up. Well, now away at school, things were about to change for Wilma. No longer could she depend upon the motivation of her mother. Motivation had to come from within. But you see, Wilma did have the ability to motivate herself, because in 1960, Coach Ed Temple picked her to represent the United States of America in the International Olympics in Rome. Those who were in the stadium that year thought that Wilma looked a little bit lonely. She was an unknown black athlete. Something was obviously wrong with her left leg. She walked with a limp. Many were asking the question aloud, what's she doing here? What is the United States trying to prove? It took them exactly 11 seconds to get the answer to that question. Because when that starting pistol cracked, she tore up that cinder path in a world record 11 seconds, snapped the tape, and captured her first gold medal in the 100-meter dash. Her next race was the 200-meter dash. Now, everyone knew that Germany's Jetta Heine would win this one. She held the world's record. Why would anyone even dare to challenge that great German, Jetta Heine? No one but Wilma. Again, the starting pistol cracked. Wilma and Jetta jumped to the lead. They turned the race into a fighting duel, knees pumping high, elbows pumping hard. With a burst of speed on the back stretch, Wilma pushed out to the lead, snapped the tape, and captured her second gold medal. Several days later, Wilma would be competing again against a revenge-seeking Jetta Heine. The race was the 400-meter relay. Once again, everyone knew that the Germans would win this one. They held the world's record. Again, the starting pistol cracked. The Germans and the Americans jumped to the lead. They turned the race into a fighting duel. The first runners handed the batons to the second. The second runners handed the batons to the third. When the third runners handed the batons to Wilma and to Jetta, Wilma dropped hers. And the great German Jetta Heine raced all alone for what appeared to be a sure victory to the finish line. No one knows what happened in that next instant. All I can think, for a fleeting moment, Wilma looked beyond that cinder path, beyond the walls of that stadium, and sent out a cry to her dead mother back home in Tennessee, and a still small voice came back. Never give up. Never, never, never give up. We don't know if that really happened. We do know what Olympic records tell us did happen. Wilma was hopelessly behind. Less than 10 seconds to go, less than 100 yards from the finish line, she reached down, grabbed up the baton in one fist, and in what Olympic records have come to call a miracle today, she pulled up beside the great German Jetta Heine. The two raced neck and neck, stride for the finish line. 75 yards to go, 60 yards to go, 50 yards to go, 100,000 screaming fans on their feet, yelling wildly because they knew they weren't just watching another race. They were witnessing a miracle. And even Jetta Heine fans saw the miracle unfold. Thousands of German voices joined the cry, yelling, "Go Rudolph, go!" The rest is Olympic history. Slowly she pushed out to the lead, and with a burst of speed, snapped the tape and captured her third gold medal. The first American girl in the history of the Olympics ever to have done so. My message to you here today is that each of us here has a steel brace. Everybody has something in their lives that they'd like to make a little bit better. They'd like to make a little bit stronger. But my message to you today is that the winner is you. The winner is a special part of you. Whether it's like Wilma Rudolph, it's a special part of you. The 3 gold medals that she won. She shot for the stars. That was the key. But remember this, that the road to success is always, always under construction. Let me close with this little prayer. You know, we Catholics collect saints. Every now and then we get one we didn't like. Had this guy Christopher, St. Christopher. He had attained what you might call sainthood tenure. A couple centuries under the belt. All of a sudden the Pope said, get him back in here. How'd you like to have a whole warehouse full of St. Christopher medals? You think tires are tough to sell? Excuse me, Mr. Christopher medals. But we got a saint we did keep, and his prayer goes like this. It's the prayer to St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Now, what greater thing could any of you be than an instrument of peace to someone else? Where there's hate, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there's, help me somebody. Where there's injury, pardon, doubt, faith. Where there's despair, hope. Where there's darkness, light. Where there's sadness, joy. Prayer goes on to say, O divine master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console. To be understood is to understand. To be loved is to love. For you see, it's in giving that we receive, in pardoning that we are pardoned, and in dying that we're born into eternal life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to stop, look, listen, and enjoy as I share this final gift of love from me to each of you.
The winner is you. You make the difference. The winner is you. They are chanting and calling your name deep down in your soul. You see the many gifts inside you, and you know the winner is you. The winner is you. Pick up the roses. The winner is you. Through the pain and the sweat and the tears, step into the light. Step up, take a bow, and you know the winner is you. It's applause for the winner that's inside of you. Applause for the winner with each thing that you do. Build a better world, to yourself be true. It's applause, and the winner is you. The winner is you. Up goes the curtain, the winner is you. You've rehearsed it again and again. When life is a stage, you're the heroine, the hero, and you know the winner is you. The winner is you. Take the checkered flag, the winner is you. Racing faster than ever before. The trophy is yours. Open more champagne, for you know the winner is you. It's applause for the winner that's inside of you. Applause for the winner with each thing that you do. Build a better world, and to yourself be true. It's applause, and the winner is you. Let's build a better world by building one another. Let's build a better place by helping build each other. Sharing is the way. It's the old way, it's the new. And when you share, the winner is you. The winner is you. This is the reason the winner is you. You believe in the things that you do. You know to achieve all your goals, your aspirations. You must know the winner is you. It's applause for the winner that's inside of you. Applause for the winner with each thing that you do. winner is you. They are chanting and calling your name. Deep down in your soul, you see the many gifts inside you, and you know the winner is you. The winner is you. The winner is you.
Thank you so much. I won't get the opportunity to meet each of you before I get away from here today, but you have honored me by inviting me to be back with your great company. I won't get the chance to say goodbye to each of you, but I do hope that through these words and through these pictures, you will understand that we have met. Thank you. God bless. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys are wonderful. Thank you.